everybody, my name is Sigvald. I am the woodworker of the Viking Age reenactment group, the Sjorvaldar Vikings, and I'm going to be starting a little series of videos about woodworking in the Viking Age. Now, Vikings are well known and popular for many reasons, which some include they were excellent raiders and traders, they were excellent fighters, they are excellent sailors, they particularly took good care of their personal health and sanitation. But I'd like to argue that Vikings are far more popular due to the reasons of they were excellent woodworkers. Now, woodworking in the Viking Age can cover a multitude of topics, but today we're going to do a video about a Viking Age spring pole lathe, and that's what this is. In essence, a lathe is a tool that just rotates an object about an axis, either horizontally or vertically. And you would use a lathe to make items such as bowls, or plates, or cups, or table legs, or anything for that matter that has a radius that will give you sort of a cylinder type look. And the tools you would use would be, I have an example here, a hook chisel. I don't know if you can see it, I can get it a little closer. This hook chisel kind of looks like a cobra getting ready to spit. And there are three things to know about the hook chisel. There's three features. There's the backside, which is flat. And then the back part of it, flat also. That's the part that curves out. And then you have the actual cutting edge, which is the left side right here. That is what is the cutting part to make your radiused objects into a cylinder, like, cups and bowls and stuff like that. The first known evidence of a lathe comes from an old Egyptian tomb dated to the year 300 BC. In that tomb was a wall carving depicting two workers working together using a vertical lathe. Now, there is fragmented evidence that lathe technology is much older, dating as far back as 1300 BC in the Mycenaean Greek period. However, a lathe's origin is lost in antiquity. Skip ahead centuries later, you find yourself in Viking Age Scandinavia, 793 AD to 1066 AD, and there you would see a woodworker using one of these, a spring pole lathe. This particular one is based off of what we think a Viking Age pole lathe would have looked like. Sadly, to my knowledge, we do not have a complete find of a pole lathe in the Viking Age. What we do have is hundreds of cores that have been found in archaeological finds, specifically the finds in the Viking Age Jorvik, or what is modern-day Yorkshire in England. These cores are the refuse of your bowl, plate, or cup that you are working on. The cores, in addition to surviving tools to work on the wood, and the remnants of the lathe themselves, all add up to leave us in agreeing that Vikings did in fact use pole lathes. Right, so there's a good little bit of history about the pole lathe and the origins and how it's made its way up to the Viking Age Scandinavia. But I'd say now, for the fun bit, actually do a little demo about how the spring pole works. So the mechanics of how it works is you put your foot on the main foot treadle, and attached to that treadle is this rope that you see, and it comes all the way up to this tree branch, which is the spring part of the spring pole lathe. Now, when I press down on the treadle, it rotates the object toward me, and as I release, the tree branch brings it back up. That's the action that the tree branch does, and that is the process that you do to carve into your object. On that downward stroke is when you want to carve into your object using that hook chisel that I was mentioning. So you place your tool on your tool rest, this little rest right here, and you got to angle your chisel just right. Before we go any farther too, I do got to mention two pretty important things. The first of which is that, as I was saying, your object is fixed about an axis, a horizontal axis. And that implies that you have to have your piece perfectly centered about your two metal spandrels right here. If it was even an eighth of an inch off from the center, then your piece would be kind of violently going up and down. It'll give you something that's not really what you desire. That's no good, so you gotta find that center. The second bit is I'm working with a lot of material here, and I'm just making a simple little carver's mallet, so I wouldn't want to waste all this time using just this process to carve roughly all this material for a handle. I want to save this for the carving mallet part, but I want to bring this down, and what you would do to make quick work of it would be to use an axe. Right, so I think that axe made quick work of the excess material that we didn't need to spend our time chiseling on. So I think we're good to get this back on the lathe, and this actually gives us a good opportunity to kind of see the center points of this little piece right here. And you can see it's this just little limb of this oak that I have is quite elliptical. I'm going to plan on leaving this the same, leave it as is. It's going to be my mallet part, and this is the end. It's going to be my handle right here with a little tapered out, flared out edge right here, so I won't lose grip of it. And there's the other center point right there. And yeah, we'll get it back on our spandrels here. One other important bit is when you're putting a rope back on your piece, you always do the rope from underneath and then bring it toward you, because that's the sequence where when you press down on the treadle, it'll actually rotate towards you. If you do it the other way, it'll rotate away from you, and you won't have any chance to actually do the work on your object here. So I'll do 2 wraps. Raise it a little bit. Bring up the post into place. Put it right back in my center point. And down here I have a little wooden wedge that I'm going to kind of beat into place. Keeps it locked. Back in business. Good to go. Give it a little quick sample. Oh, that's good. Much better. Think we're looking good. Well, that just about does it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our quick little video. I hope it was entertaining and educational about pole lathes in the Viking Age. I'll tune in. I'll be doing video 2, which is going to be mainly me just going at it with the lathe on this little piece of oak and really making that little carver's mallet. And in the meantime, please like and share the video. Like Sjorvaldar Viking page. We'd appreciate it. And if you have any input, please say so in the comment section. If you want to see more videos, then I will gladly do them.